As the products from extractive industries become essential ingredients of today's economies and an integral part of our daily lives in the 21st century, the vast sums of revenue that governments receive from those industries and how these revenues are used is a subject of increasing interest to both their citizens and the international community. In response to these challenges, a collaborative initiative launched in 2002 aims at improving transparency and accountability in the world's oil, gas, and mineral-rich countries.
We try to make sure that it is clear to everybody in the world how much a mining company, an oil producer, a operator in the forest sector, how much they pay to the government in the country where they operate. And we would like to know how much the country actually receives, and these two numbers have to be the same.
The Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, or EITI, is a multi-stakeholder platform of governments, companies, civil society, investors, and international organizations, including the World Bank Group. The impact of the EITI process goes beyond the mandated publication of reports on payments and revenues. EITI supporters also are creating a culture of transparency that promotes dialogue, empowers civil society, and builds trust among stakeholders.
We're making very good progress towards becoming a global transparency standard. And that is a real achievement in that there is a uniform process implemented in so many countries that are rich with oil, gas, minerals, and metals.
Implementing the EITI affirms that governments are committed to fighting corruption and improving their credibility locally and abroad. More than 30 countries are now implementing EITI principles.
From the perspective of an African and a Nigerian, the most important impact of EITI has been getting public servants and private companies to accept the culture of transparency, disclosure, openness, and honesty in dealing with revenues from that sector.
It got Nigeria aware of the need for transparency in resource management. It, through the audits, gave some rather spectacular conclusions about the degree to which taxes were paid by the oil companies, and the different branches of the Nigerian government were able to enforce legislation, regulation, and get taxes paid.
I think that's very comprehensive and tremendous initiative which started in 2002 and 2003. We legalized it and we immediately started in Azerbaijan, in my country. I think that's one of the workable initiative which is very helpful for developing countries, for resource-rich countries, and including Maya as well.
Liberians see EITI as a great opportunity to get to know a little more about their natural resources, and the publication of reports of payments by companies and the revenue government receive have been so welcome that many Liberians look forward to receiving EITI reports.
The political commitment of governments and companies to disclosing revenues and payments not only improves investment climate and fosters good governance, but also promotes dialogue, empowers communities, and builds trust among various stakeholders. The EITI principles are also being adopted by the construction and forestry industries.
EITI is a young organization. Is it succeeding? EITI, I think, for the time that it's been operating, has succeeded beyond all hopes.
We have one of the best petroleum system in place. We have a very good legislation. EITI is one of the tools in assisting us to perform much better in terms of transparency. But yes, indeed, it proves that it's doing quite well in Timor. We can put civil society, industry, and the government to sit and discuss issues related with oil and gas. This is the beauty of this initiative.
As one of several international organizations supporting the EITI, The World Bank Group's role is to provide technical and financial resources to implementing countries through a multi-donor trust fund managed by the bank's Oil, Gas and Mining Policy Division.
For us, it's very important that mining development is done right, that helps the country to prevent the resource curse, and that it is done with a means to promoting the sustainable development of the country. One of the conditions is having a participatory approach, and that's exactly what EITI was able to bring into the country. The capacity to put civil society, private investors and government officials around the table.
Well, the Multi-Donor Trust Fund is of course exceptionally important for the success of the EITI because it's the fundamental support in terms of resources and a lot of the technical assistance that is funded as a result of the Multi-Donor Trust Fund. And I think that a lot of what we see in terms of the successes and challenges of the EITI in some senses speak to the Multi-Donor Trust Fund's own successes and challenges.
We give a lot of priority to what is happening in the Multi-Donor Trust Fund. And we do see it as very, very important at the different stages. First of all, in the initial stage, to actually get the country interested either directly or through the other activities the World Bank has in that country, sometimes already within the sector, within the extractive sector, the mining or oil and gas sector.
Increasing technical and financial support is essential to meet the demands of a growing number of countries committed to transparency and accountability in their extractive industry sectors.
The World Bank needs to be even more present to support these countries, because I believe that this sector, which is very complicated, requires support. Because most of these countries base their development on this sector, and the bank support must be constant, but also shared.
There are many challenges, and Mongolia is a vast country. Many mining companies are coming into the country, and the mining sector is just about to expand, and it's just in the beginning of its, let's say, boom road. Yeah? So there are many challenges.
Initially, we worked with 2 or 3 countries, and then 5 and 10, and now more than 50. And I think for me, it is important with the single reason that it is important to the countries. And the countries are seeing value in it, and this, from a World Bank staff point of view, is perhaps the ideal situation.
So many countries have expressed interest and continue to work with the EITI. That's really important. But we are now in the process where countries are getting validated. And what is really key is that we maintain that momentum. We want to move through this. We want to make sure that they stay with the validation process. We want to encourage them that they do so, because it is very important that those resources from the extractive industries are put to good use. So we encourage countries to stay with this in the months ahead.
EITI, with the support of the countries that contribute to the Multi-Donor Trust Fund and the World Bank Group, is proving itself by improving standards on transparency and accountability. Many countries, together with companies and civil society, have adopted EITI as a crucial step in their national efforts toward better managing their hydrocarbon and mineral resources for sustainable economic growth and poverty reduction.